The next slide is the Cygnus deep space objects. The first object is the Cygnus X1, that's in the far corner. It is a really famous X-ray source, and it can be seen from Earth. It was discovered in 1964 during a rocket launch, or rocket flight, and its mass is 8.7 times that of the Sun. Though what makes it like really widely known is that it's the first X-ray source to be considered a black hole. And the reason why people consider or think it's a black hole, because it's really compact to be known as anything other than that. And it is 6,100 light years away from Earth, and it orbits a star HDE 226868. The next deep space object is the Crescent Nebula, and that has a magnitude of 7.4. It's considered to be an emission nebula, and it was formed by strong stellar winds of a Wolf-Rayet star in Cygnus, and the star is HD 192163, which a Wolf-Rayet star is just really hot, old, massive star that is rapidly losing mass due to fast stellar winds. And what makes the Crescent Nebula really, I guess, interesting, at least in my opinion, which is why I picked it, is due to like its shape. It has like this shell-looking thing, which that came to be about due to stellar winds from a star that was colliding with winds that the star like ejected when it was becoming a red giant, which that happened 400,000 years ago. So it kind of, those two winds kind of like mashed together and created the shape. And it is 5,000 light years away from Earth. The next deep space object is the North American Nebula, and that's in the corner. The North American Nebula is considered, well, it's called that because it kind of resembles the shape of the North American continent. And it was discovered on October 24th in 1786 by William Herschel. And it is a pretty big nebula. It is about 120 by 100 arcs per minute. And you can only see the nebula with binoculars since the surface brightness is really low. And it is about 1,600 light years away. It has the greatest concentration of star formation activity that occurs in Cygnus, which that happens in the Cygnus wall, which would be like located in the North American Nebula. That would be like kind of where Mexico is, or kind of leading to Central America part. And that's the North American Nebula. Then there's the Cygnus Loop / Veil Nebula. This Veil Nebula, the Veil Nebula is basically a visual component of the Cygnus Loop. And the Cygnus Loop is a large supernova regiment. It is 3 degrees across the sky that forms the massive nebula in Cygnus. And it has this really strong sort of soft X-rays. The Veil Nebula is the arcs of the loop, so it's like the top part, and it emits visible light. It's kind of the only, I guess, nebula in this Cygnus Loop that emits visible light. It has several components. Well, the Veil Nebula has several components, as the Western Veil, the Eastern Veil, and Picker's Triangle, which NGC6960 is the Western Veil, and that kind of forms the westernmost part of the veil, and then the Eastern Veil obviously forms the eastern part, and that is actually made up of 3 regimens: NGC6996, NGC6945, and IC1340. So yeah, and that is the Cygnus and Veil Nebula. Cygnus mythology slide. And I got mine from Greek mythology, and basically the story is about Cygnus and his friend Phaethon. Cygnus is the son of Ares, and Phaethon is the son of Helios. So basically these two are like really close friends. They're really reckless, and they just like to compete with each other and try to one up each other. So basically one day they both decided to have a chariot race. So while they were racing chariots, they were getting really close to the sun, which would be considered pretty dangerous, because they're, trying to one-up each other to, win the race and have bragging rights. So while they're racing close to the sun, it was causing a lot of mayhem, and Cygnus noticed and saw that it could, potentially, well, of course, hurt them, but it could also, hurt Earth and, burn Earth up because they're riding too close to it on their chariots. So Cygnus shot a lightning bullet at them to knock them down, so they fell. Phaethon landed in the Eriudice River, and he got trapped there and he actually died. And Cygnus landed in some, well, he just became unconscious, but he had a softer landing. He just landed there, became unconscious, but when he came to, he looked around for Phaethon, and he couldn't find him, but he noticed that he was in the river. So he was diving. He was trying to retrieve the body. He was doing that for hours, but he realized that he couldn't get, deep enough to retrieve the body so that Phaethon could have a proper burial. So then Cygnus went to Cygnus and asked him to turn him into a swan, because if he became a swan, then he'd be able to dive in further to get the body to retrieve it. So after he pleaded with Cygnus struck him a deal and said that if he turned him into a swan, then he'd have to have the consequence of being losing his immortality and being having the normal lifespan of a swan. So when a swan died, he died. So then Cygnus immediately made the deal with them. And then, Cygnus was eventually, since he was a swan, was able to retrieve the body. And due to Cygnus's very selfless act, Cygnus decided to place an image in the sky of a swan to represent Cygnus and his selfless act that he performed. So yeah, that is the story I have. It's a little short. Here's my reference page, and the questions I have for you guys is, what is the other name of Cygnus? What other name is Cygnus known as? What nebula in Cygnus can't be seen without binoculars? And what is the alpha star in Cygnus? So yeah.